So I was asked to provide a talk in 8 minutes, so I thought I'll pick something really easy that I can accomplish in that period of time. The challenge: with shrinking budgets, higher demands, expanding customer base, changing points of influence, ever-changing landscape and rules of play, how should limited resources be allocated for maximum return? In 8 minutes. So, I find visuals and contrast help make a point. So I'm going to take you back to a happier time of rainbows and singing birds when life was easier, looking in the rearview mirror. We used to file a drug, receive NOC pretty easily, deploy sales forces across the country at will, receive formulary listing in every province, deploy more sales forces. Our brands were profitable, our patents expired, and the death of the product, and that's where it ended. I checked Accutane. That actually does not exist in the world. I made it up, but I thought if anyone's looking for a name for a new drug, I think that's pretty catchy. So that's kind of in a few slides a summary of what our industry used to look like for those of you that have been around a few years. And it was a pretty simple time, which really allowed for some simple decision making about how we deploy our resources, which were primarily sales forces. So as we've heard this morning, and we heard last year and the year before, the landscape began to change and continues to change underneath us. And I think I actually saw someone this morning have this as the background to one of their slides in the same context of changing landscape. It's not even land, it's water, but it's rough water. And for those of you that are faint of heart, it's not a good industry to be in, certainly if you don't like change. But this is a representation of what we've been going through, and I suggest that we will continue to go through in the coming years. So we had some well-established tenets of how we do marketing and how we deploy our resources. And some of those started to change and become challenged. What? Call on pharmacists? You've got to be kidding me. Reduce my CHE spend? Not a chance. Too many reps? Heresy. Invest in long-term care facilities? Come on. Reduce my price? Oh, someone said it this morning that is our lowest common denominator. We start playing there, we've lost everything. Form new alliances, and I don't just mean co-promotions, and there's some bizarre alliances happening out there right now that I'll speak more to as well. Bizarre as in you would never have thought of them a few years ago. Negotiate private plan product listing agreements, and negotiate public plan private listing agreements. Brands competing with generics post-LOE. These are all very different and bizarre compared to a few years ago. We all know that there's a change in stakeholder influence, and we've been hearing this for years. And I reference an IMS slide that I think is a number of years old now that looked at 2005, and I think at the time was a projection out to 2009 and onwards on exactly where some of the change in prescribing influence is occurring. And we all knew that primary care physicians, as the main decision makers, their influence was declining, and areas, certainly government drug plans, drug approval advisory groups, and I'm going to suggest some of these others that weren't predicted to change are changing dramatically as well. But are we changing how we allocate our resources based on where this is going? So this is a typical look at deployment of resources for a brand, and clearly the sales force takes the lion's share still, in spite of the changes that we've been seeing. In 1996, the ratio of drug reps to physicians was about 1 to 18. In a mere 10 years, that changed to a ratio of 1 to 9. So a significant change. But in spite of that change of escalation of sales forces, here's a look from some IMS data on three different categories that determine a product launch success: market dominance, promotional effectiveness, and maximizing opportunity. And in all areas, this continues to decline despite increasing deployment of the sales force. So if you haven't seen this, you've been hiding. This is enough to stop the